Hey, it's Matthew Giorgio. How do you create real world, human to human interaction in a simulation game? That was the challenge that my team and I had set to solve a number of years ago. So, after many years of designing very realistic business simulations where the metrics are real, the data is real, the decisions are all real, we discovered that everything that we were doing, as amazing as a learning experience as it was, and the same as other companies who develop similar products to ours, we were all creating realistic experiences, but not authentic experiences. And by authentic, I mean that human to human interaction. So you can make something real that's human to computer interaction because of the variables, the metrics, the decisions that you're asking the players to make. But how do you recreate that human to human interaction? And there's real world type business relationships that we all have to deal with and all have to be successful at to be successful at running a business. So that's what we set out to do. So how we did it was by creating a global business game, and that's what you're seeing on screen here. This is GoVentureWorld.com. GoVentureWorld.com. It's the most authentic business learning experience ever created. So not only is it real in terms of the decisions you're making interacting with the software, but it's authentic because it requires you to establish relationships with other players. And I'm not talking about like the conventional entertainment gaming when you're on a headset and you're competing, shooting each other in some game or playing basketball together on a team. I'm talking about the actual relationships you need to establish to be successful in your business. Let me give you some examples. So you can be a manufacturing entrepreneur in this world, and you're producing a product, but you cannot sell that product to the simulated consumers in the world unless you find a retail entrepreneur, which is another human player, to sell your product. So you actually create a supply chain. And when you find this other human player, manufacturer to retail, you negotiate a supply chain agreement with them, meaning you negotiate, okay, how many of my products, let's say it's cars, how many of my cars do you want to buy? Or you want to buy 100 cars? Okay, I'll manufacture them. I'll have them ready in 3 days. You send me 50% of the money up front. I'll ship. Then you deliver the 50% within 30 simulated days in the experience. So we're creating these real world human to human interactions through how the gameplay is designed and requires you to actually connect with other players. Let me tell you some other cool things that you can do in the game. You can set up a transportation business. So as a manufacturer, to deliver your product to retailers, you have to commission the services of a shipping company, which could be another human player. In fact, multiple human players in the game offering shipping services. And they're actually competing and potentially advertising their services. You can see in the upper right corner here, we have banner ads. So other players are designing banner ads to attract human players to their business. So this is the cool thing now. These banner ads, they're not simulated, they're real, designed by real human players, which also tracks real world click-through rates, just like we do in the real world of marketing and advertising. We have accounting and law firms. So, a moment ago I talked about the delivery of the vehicles, 50% upfront payment and then 50% later on delivery. Well, what if the manufacturer or the retailer doesn't pay the manufacturer? What do? We actually have players who play the role of law firms, and they can be engaged and deals negotiated for those players to mediate disputes like that. And they can do other interesting things like register trademarks and patent new ideas, because we have inventions that players can create. Finance. We even built relationships around finance where players, once they become successful as manufacturers and retailers, they can then launch investment banks. And when you have an investment bank, other players will approach you for debt or equity financing. And so that includes things like asking for loans at certain interest rates. And again, you're negotiating it player to player in the game, in this virtual world. We have the ability to actually float bonds. So you have to hire an investment bank to underwrite your bond issue or your stock issue. So you can also pitch the investment bank. Remember, it's another human player. You can pitch that person to invest in your business or underwrite your stock, and then promote that stock to other players. So we actually have a real life stock market and bond market that uses securities from the human human-controlled virtual businesses are purchased by other businesses. This is how you create a live role-playing experience that enhances and contributes to the ability of creating real-world human-human relationships, so that people who want to gain experience running a business, managing a business, they also gain experience in the business relationships and the trust that you need to build between people, humans, to create successful businesses. I hope that helps explain how to create these relationships in a business simulation. I'm Matthew Giorgio.